The morning sunlight spilled through the enormous windows of the Beaumont estate, but even the soft glow of a new day couldn't mask the exhaustion carved into Aldrich Beaumont's frail face. For months, the elderly man had lived in silent agony, moving through the mansion like a shadow, gripping his lower back, wincing with each step, and hiding his pain behind a forced smile whenever his son, the millionaire businessman Rowan Beaumont, came home. Rowan believed his father was simply aging, that the aches were normal, that the tired eyes were just the weight of years. That illusion shattered the day he returned unexpectedly, on a bright, ordinary afternoon, and saw what no son should ever witness behind his back. Before we move deeper, if you believe in kindness, second chances, and the power of truth, please like, comment, share, and subscribe to Kindness Corner. And tell us in the comments, where are you watching from? Rowan was a man hardened by corporate battles, yet soft for the men who had raised him alone after his mother died years ago. Aldrich had once been strong, energetic, and full of laughter, but lately his laughter had faded. He often said he was fine, brushing off Rowan's concerns, insisting he didn't want to be a burden. Rowan took his word for it, trusting that his young wife Celine, elegant, poised, and seemingly devoted, was caring for him during the hours Rowan spent handling business deals and traveling. But sometimes, when Rowan returned late at night, he noticed odd things: bruises on Aldrich's thin arms, untouched meals left cold on the marble counter, his father limping more than usual. Celine always brushed it aside. "He's forgetful, he's clumsy, he refuses to let me help," and Rowan believed her. He wanted to believe her. One bright afternoon, Rowan wrapped up a business meeting early. It was rare for him to be home before sunset. He decided he would surprise both Celine and his father with lunch and a slow day together. As he parked his car in the private driveway and stepped inside the mansion, he immediately sensed something uneasy in the air, a stillness too heavy for such a bright day. He walked through the hallways quietly, following a faint sound echoing down the corridor, a strained, broken voice murmuring apologies. The sound came from the luxurious guest bathroom near the east wing. Rowan's footsteps slowed as he approached, and when he pushed the door open just slightly, the sight inside didn't just shock him, it shattered him. The bathroom was pristine, almost blinding with white marble and gold fixtures, but on the cold floor knelt Aldrich, sweating, trembling, and struggling to scrub a toilet with the stiffness of someone in unbearable pain. His back was hunched unnaturally, his breathing shallow, his ribs showing through his worn gray shirt. On his chest hung a heavy beige baby carrier with two sleeping infant twins, Rowan's children, not Celine's, but Rowan's from his previous marriage. Celine had insisted that Aldrich could handle them during the day, that it made him feel useful. But Rowan had never imagined this. Aldrich's knuckles shook, and each wipe of the cloth seemed to send a bolt of pain through him. Standing over him was Celine, dressed in an expensive, form-fitting daylight maroon dress, arms crossed, eyes cold like polished stone. Her voice had no softness as she told Aldrich to stop complaining and work faster. Rowan watched, frozen, as Celine tapped her high heel impatiently on the floor. She didn't raise her voice, and yet the cruelty in her tone was sharper than a knife. Aldrich muttered apologies like a frightened child, as if afraid to disappoint her. Rowan's heart twisted painfully. He realized his father wasn't just in physical pain, he was in emotional captivity, scared to speak up, terrified to trouble his son. Aldrich suddenly winced, his entire body tensing, and he slumped slightly, nearly falling forward. Celine's expression didn't shift, she simply rolled her eyes, complaining that he was slower every day, and lucky to live here at all. Rowan pushed the door fully open, and the sound startled both of them. Aldrich looked up with wide, frightened eyes, and Celine paled at the sight of her husband standing there, witnessing everything she thought would always be hidden behind his back. Rowan felt something inside him snap. The betrayal wasn't just marital, it was human. He moved to his father instantly, lifting him gently, feeling the unnatural stiffness in his bones, the deep flinch that suggested long fear. Aldrich tried to protest, insisting he was fine, but his voice cracked. Rowan held him harder, tears burning his eyes. He carried Aldrich out of the bathroom, leaving Celine speechless in the middle of her own reflection-filled cruelty. Once in the sunlight of Aldrich's bedroom, Rowan finally demanded the truth. It came out in pieces, painful pieces, how Celine made him clean daily, how she refused to allow house staff near him, how she withheld meals as punishment, how she assigned him duties with the twins even when he was in agony, how she guilted him into silence by saying Rowan would think he was ungrateful. It was abuse wrapped in manipulation, and Aldrich had endured it just to keep peace in Rowan's marriage. Rowan's grief turned into a quiet fury, not the explosive kind, but the kind that reshapes a life. He called his attorney, gathered evidence from the mansion's security footage, confronted Celine legally and personally, and removed her from their lives completely. The divorce was swift, public, and irreversible. Celine tried to defend herself, but images and recordings told the truth louder than her rehearsed words. The days after were slow but healing. Rowan hired a full-time medical caregiver for Aldrich, restored the warmth of the mansion, and spent afternoons sitting with his father in the garden, listening to old stories he had once been too busy to hear. He realized that wealth meant nothing if the people he loved were suffering in silence. Aldrich regained strength over time, not just physically, but emotionally. The twins adored him, clinging to him like little sons orbiting an old universe finally allowed to rest. As for Rowan, he rebuilt not just his family, but himself. He learned to see beyond polished smiles, to question what lies behind closed doors, and to cherish loved ones loudly while they are still here. If this story touched your heart, please like, share, comment, and subscribe to Kindness Corner. Your support helps us spread more real, emotional, and inspiring stories. Before we end, please comment below, would you have forgiven Celine or walked away forever? And with that, the painful chapter in the Beaumont home finally closed, not with silence, but with truth, healing, and the sunlight of a new beginning.